Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
Band from Ringside.
Tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast, we are finally here. We have our WrestleMania XL predictions. We also have your NXT Stand and Deliver predictions, your ROH Supercard of Honor predictions. CM Punk has a fascinating promo, or fascinating interview, I should say, with Ariel Helwani. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast.
Just when I thought I wanted to hate CM Punk.
I know.
I don't think I hate CM Punk.
That's 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Marks, and welcome to the Band from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Jablonzo Morning. And out there in South City, St. Louis, Missouri, we have my good friend and co-host, Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
I kissed the beaver and I liked it. It's my cherry kiss and I like it. And on that lovely note, I'll ask the congregation to bow their heads as I ask the congregation to bow their heads as I read the podcast. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. 354, chapter 3, verse 14, and the good smart says, hashtag Buddha Heals. It's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat. The Holy Trinity of BFR. Your boys had a couple of drinks. I've just come back from the home opener of the Cardinals game, and it was a good time for all. I've had a couple of drinks, so that's why it's going to be a little stumbling from this point moving forward, but that's okay. You can talk about me all you want to. I know the one guy that hates JCB is going to have a field day with this point on, because I'm gonna probably stumble my way forward from this point on.
Who's the one guy that hates JCB?
I don't know. It's the one guy that was like, I'm the worst, the worst host of BFR. So there's the one guy. He's not been named. He's not mentioned. So there it is.
They hate you.
Like back-to-back times.
Jason, they hate you because they ain't you. Do not.
I wish it was the case.
No two-beer Zach Pullman tonight. He had some family things he had to do. No Vice tonight, although he might be showing up later. So you know what? It's just like the old days, Jason. Just like me and you, standing on the corner of 10th and Olive, burning darts, talking about wrestling into the night.
Do you have to? I was going to say, do you have to go get a drink? Otherwise, we can just talk about this shit a little bit more. It's the good old days, the way BFR was before BFR was a thing.
Yes.
Bill and I would just sit on the corner. Did you see this? Did you see that?
Yep.
Let's talk about it.
What do you think about it? Nope, you're wrong. This. Nope, you're wrong. And then we'd yell at each other. Homeless people would come up and they would ask us if we were okay. They would ask me if I needed to be protected. And I'd say, no, he's a friend of mine. It's okay.
I'll give him $1 and we keep things moving along.
No, we are missing Zach. Zach did give all of his. We have tons of predictions tonight, and he did give all his predictions. I have written my predictions down already. So as not to be.
Oh, so there's all kind of conspiracy on me. That's great. That's all I like to hear.
We're going to do things a little bit differently tonight. We usually go through a 3 count. As loyal listeners know, this is your first BFR. We usually go through the 3 count. We take the 3 biggest stories of the week because WrestleMania XL is this week. And because the build to WrestleMania has been unique and outstanding, I don't want to give short shrift to anything that's happening in WrestleMania. So we are going to start with WrestleMania predictions. We usually end the podcast with predictions, but, at this point, I don't know if Jason's going to be awake at the end of the podcast, so we definitely got to do the predictions first. I'm so glad that you had a good time. I know that you go every year to opening day. I've never been. Cardinals got a big win. They won 8-5. I was watching it. A fun,
nice comeback win.
Had to be fun while you were there because the 7th inning was quite a bit of fun.
No, it's always a scenario where I'll go down, and it's multiple times I've been, and always I've seen people I haven't seen before in a long time. Shout out to my man Roger. Shout out to my man Sean. big shout out to my boy Dog, whose birthday is on Saturday. Shout out that way. I'm going to get the shout outs for birthdays out the way on that scenario. So in that scenario, it's always a good time to see people. And in the scenario for myself, and I know for you as a Cardinals fan, it's one of the few times where you can go out as a Cardinals fan and have a good time, and then ultimately bump into people that you probably shouldn't be bumping into. You know what I'm saying?
I know the BFIB, Best Fans of Baseball thing gets a lot of shit, but it is a holiday in St. Louis opening day. For sure. It's a big deal. Even at my work, and I took off today, and then tomorrow I'm figuring nobody's going to come out tomorrow, so I can go into work and just stumble on and just do my thing. But to me, I think opening day for baseball in general, whatever it is for us, it was Thursday. The quote unquote original day for opening day was, I guess, Sunday, Monday. Right.
I mean, it's hard to get away from those days. You know what I'm saying? Like, Super Bowl Sunday should be a holiday, so the next day everybody should get the day off. You know what I'm saying? We just had we're just coming up to March Madness. I know March Madness isn't a thing, but for me, I love March Madness. I love college basketball. So I mean, for me, that Monday night is a huge thing. So you got Monday night college basketball, and then on the other side you have Monday Night Raw. So it's kind of like
I want to give the people a little peek behind the curtain. When Jason and I when we first started talking before we were on the air, Jason was like, "Listen, I'm a little banged up. You quarterback the thing. I'll chime in when I need to." Like he was going to talk any less because he's drunker. That's not the case.
Guilty as charged.
So much to talk about this week. But we're gonna get right into those WrestleMania predictions. Please. You know what? Let's get to that one count.
1, 2, 3.
All right. Usually Jason takes it, but I'll take it this week because I have the notebook, and I have there are 13 matches on WrestleMania's night 1 and 2. They have named what matches are going to be on night 1 and what matches are going to be on night 2. And if I read correctly, they have announced the order in which they are going in, which is kind of unheard of. And cards always subject to change, But so we are going to start at the very top, and they have said it. Night 1, the curtain jerker, night 1 is Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship.
Okay.
Jason, so we're going to give our predictions. We're going to talk about the match a little bit. And then I'd also like to hear your grade for the build for each one, because we do have a couple A-pluses in these builds. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. First of all, give me your thoughts on the match and who you think's going to win.
Thoughts on the match? I think this was kind of the story, the plan all along. Rhea Ripley has been a dominant champion. It's good to see her be a champion for a long, long time, and somebody that's not named Charlotte Flair, that's not named Bayley or Becky Lynch or whatever the case may be, but obviously Becky Lynch is on the other side. I agree with Three Beer on this one. Obviously, he's not here, but he said it last week. I really, really, really want to see Rhea Ripley go over and beat Becky Lynch. I think Rhea Ripley is a part of the face of the division. I like Charlotte Flair, don't get me wrong, but obviously she beat Charlotte Flair last year. Beating Becky Lynch in back-to-back years with, if you want to call it the Four Horsewomen or whatever the case may be, I think would be an amazing thing. I said it last week where I thought they took their time with this feud because I thought this feud was already kind of cemented. You didn't have to do a lot to build this feud up, but now we're here. The last couple of weeks we've had fisticuffs or whatever the case may be. My pick, I'm gonna pick Rhea Ripley. I don't want to pick Rhea Ripley because I think in my heart of hearts Becky Lynch will win, but I think Rhea Ripley would be more served to have this dub and take this. It's maybe not like a Roman Reigns kind of thing, but Rhea Ripley is the real deal, and she should be going over in scenarios like this. It's a hard ask to have her go over Becky Lynch, and I get it. It's probably going to cost me points on the back end, but you know what? So be it. I like Rhea Ripley that much where I'm going to put points on the line, and if I drop points, so be it. But I think that it should be Rhea Ripley in this case. What more can Becky Lynch do? She's done it all. At this point, this is where I agree with 3-Beer on this one. Last week, it's a great time to pass the buck over to Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, or whomever else you want to give it to, but I'm going to take Rhea Ripley on this.
Zach also took Rhea Ripley. For my money, this to me is one of those things. It makes sense that they are fighting each other. I don't know what they were going to do before Charlotte went down, but it makes sense that it was Ripley versus Charlotte last year. Had one of the matches of the weekend. One of the probably two best matches that was on either night was Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. I loved it. I love Becky Lynch. I'm not sure that Becky Lynch is the in-ring performer that Charlotte is, and that is that's not a knock against Becky Lynch. I mean, Becky Lynch is incredible, but Charlotte Flair is just on another level. So, especially when it comes to WWE talent. However, I think that this is one of those matches that you have to take a 10,000 foot high view and say, okay, they're building up Rhea, like Jason said, what more can Becky Lynch do? They are building up Rhea Ripley to be an all-time great. She's only 26 years old, I think, something like that.
Jesus.
It makes sense if you look back 5 years from now on Rhea Ripley's career. You're going to say that one year she beat Charlotte, then the next year she beat Becky, and then next year, I mean, who knows? But the sky's the limit. She is mega famous. I know that she gets a lot of play on Instagram and TikTok. I know that the young people like her. She is going to take oh, we both have drops now. This is incredible. She is going to take
I did it on accident.
Still funny. But Rhea Ripley is going to take the women's division of WWE into the future. I am also taking Rhea Ripley. So that is a Rhea Ripley pick across the board. As for the build, Jason, what kind of grade would you give the build?
I said it last week. I thought they kind of mailed this joker in because for me, when Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumble, it was pretty much set. And at that point, however you wanted to build it is however you wanted to build it. To me, it's like a C. It was not great. It wasn't bad. It was somewhere in the middle. They finally decided they wanted to build it the last 2 weeks, and now they have fisticuffs.
Yeah, they brought it home pretty good, and for that reason, would you give it a C? I think I'd give it. I think I'd give it a B-. The last couple of weeks have been pretty good.
I say, dude. I mean, I know. I'll just say it like this: the reason I give it a C is because the match was made, so they didn't build a match. Other matches around it, whether it was night 1 or night 2, were built up. Jay and Jimmy were the biggest one.
Man.
Is to me the biggest example of a match that got built up, and then Becky and Rhea kind of just stepped to the side. The last 2 weeks, this week and last week, we actually started to see fisticuffs. Before that, Becky was like, I'll take Nia Jax on. I'll take Liv Morgan on, or whatever the case may be, which is fine. I'm not knocking the booking per se, but for me, it was like, okay, we forgot about this match. Now let's push it. For me, it's a C.
Match number 2 on night 1. I'm telling you, the first 4 matches on night 1, it's just boom, 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 boom.
I wonder.
Second match is.
Let's hold that thought to night 2 is dope too, but just go ahead.
Well, it's an unbelievable card.
Right.
Match number 2 is Gunther versus Sami Zayn. I'll let Zach go first. He is taking Sami Zayn. I'll go next. This is the right match. Once Brock Lesnar was taken out of the equation, because Gunther Brock Lesnar would have been probably the only match. I mean, that's a match that I think I'd rather see that than this. Because I'm a Lesnar mark. That might sound like blasphemy in a lot of places, but Gunther is, he's been the best in-ring performer for WWE for quite a long time now, if you include his time in NXT and NXT UK. I have said before, and I will say it again, that I will continue to pick Gunther until I'm wrong. So I am taking Gunther just because I am playing the odds.
I'm not mad at you for it.
Would I be pissed off if Sami Zayn won? I wouldn't. I think that it would be a real booking gift to Sami Zayn after he did so much work last year. He's one of their top guys. He headlined one of the nights of WrestleMania last year. He had that Montreal match against Roman Reigns. He is a top guy. And and I would be totally cool with Sami Zayn winning here. Plus, just because I'm a Sami Zayn mark. Who do you got?
No, I'm gonna take Sami Zayn on this one. I think it's kind of like it's a twofold thing. I said it multiple times, but to me, Gunther is ready for the prime time. I don't care who wins the main event on the Raw side, whether it's Drew, Sammy, or Drew, Seth, or Damian Priest. I don't care. We'll talk about that here in a second. But ultimately, I think Gunther is a made man, and I think that Triple H has made him into a scenario where you feel like he's just elevated the IC title enough to where now a credible, someone that is really, really credible that can come up and beat him for it. Sami Zayn is one of those guys, in my opinion, that can come up and beat him for it. And then on that aspect, now the flip moving forward, whomever is the champion on the Raw side, Gunther should be in the mix of one of the handful of guys, 2 or 3, whatever the case may be.
Gunther has elevated.
No, go ahead.
Gunther has elevated that belt so much that it's getting Chad Gable over as a guy who can't win it. You know what I mean?
It's getting Chad Gable and the guy that can't win it. It to me is like Rocky filling. I think it's Rocky 3 or Rocky 4. Like, to me it's 4. Gunther is Ivan Drago. So, and Sami Zayn is obviously Rocky. It's Rocky 3. Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but
it's not Rocky 4. It's Rocky 3.
It's Rocky 3.
Rocky 3 is like a third of that movie is montages.
Clubber Lang is Gunther. You have Rocky as Sami Zayn, and then you have Apollo Creed as Chad Gable. So Chad Gable is going to get a Rocky over, in this case, Sami Zayn, to win the championship. So I'm going to pick Sami Zayn, obviously. And at some point, Sami Zayn and Chad Gable will battle for the IC championship.
Chad Gable and Kurt Angle look alike, and Jason Jordan and Apollo Creed look alike. It should have been. It should have been you, JJ. You were Kurt Angle's kid.
I was about to say, Jason Jordan is going to be on a part of this pod later on, at least as far as I'm concerned. If you listen to the whole CM Punk interview, which was God, I hate CM Punk, but yes.
Okay,
go ahead.
I'm going to. Okay, so the next match. So I have Gunther. You guys have Sami Zayn. The next match is the New Day versus the Judgment Day versus Awesome Truth versus A-Town Down Under versus New Catch Republic versus DIY in a ladder match for the tag belts. However, both belts are on the line. They have said that the belts can be pulled down separately. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to do it normal. You're going to pick your least to most likely to win.
Okay.
And
I should have wrote this down before we got to this.
And there's just going to be 2 points for like if you're number 5 and you're number 2, basically you'll get points for if a team wins either tag team belt. So I will let you go first. Who you got from least to most?
Say the teams again, just so I have it right.
Okay, I'll go first. How about this? Okay, so
fair enough.
A lot of different ways they can go with this. They can definitely. They're definitely going to split the belts.
Honestly, I'll just say this: I knew who I was going to pick until they got cute, and then they decided that if one team takes a title down, that's the tag team champions on one side, and then the other team takes the titles down, and that's the other team. I'll let you go first. So, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm going to do anyway, but I'll let you go first so you can set the scene.
I'll read you Zach and mine. So
okay, fair.
Zach and I have the same bottom two in the same order. Mm-hmm. It's New Day, and then A-Town Down Under.
Okay, we can go with those two right now as my bottom 2. I have no problem with that. Neither one of them are going to win it or should win it.
However, I can see A-Town Down Under winning one of the belts, like the SmackDown belts. Look,
as far as I'm concerned, their spot is at least up to a certain point. When this week started, and this is a bad part about me just not, putting on the text thread, their week started where they might not have even been in this title match. So that's why I'm not going to say they are any higher than what they are. If they're in it, God bless them for it. They got a WrestleMania moment, and they're going to get the WrestleMania check. But that doesn't mean if I will agree with you. To me, there were the 2 bottom guys, New Day being the least likely to win it, No Business win it, and then, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller being the next least likely to win it. So they were lucky to even be there.
So this is the rest of mine. Next up, I have New Catch Republic, DIY, Judgment Day, and Awesome Truth. My reasoning behind Judgment Day is I can see them splitting them, but still letting Judgment Day hold the belts. I'm not sure. I just do not see. I could see them taking the belts off Judgment Day if I saw Damian Priest trying to cash in at WrestleMania. I just don't see it. Right. I may really eat my words next week. I mean, crazier things have happened. Damian Priest seems so much not as big as the rest of the dudes. He is just not on the same level. But yeah, I have Awesome Truth 1 because R-Truth getting one of these belts is guaranteed in my mind.
To me, it has to be, I don't want to say it's a slam dunk. To me, if it was more of a slam dunk, it would be like, if both titles were on the line.
He's going to grab one of the belts, or he's going to grab one of each, and, they're going to be, they're still going to hold them both or something.
Yes.
Or one of them, it's just R-Truth. He's just the tag team champion or something. But
somehow, some way, R-Truth will fuck this motherfucker up.
That is not what Zach has. 4th, he has Judgment Day. 3rd, he has Awesome Truth, and 2nd, he has New Catch Republic, and top, he has DIY. What do you think about that?
Okay, so just for me and the way and this is what the great part about WWE is, and we'll talk about this more and more as we go along. I just don't know what's going to happen. And that to me is always a beautiful way to go into a PLE, pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what's going to happen. So this is where I'm just going to be kind of just fascinated to see what happens. I'm going to go Judgment Day as the 4th, the least likely in this scenario to win it, because in my mind, I think Damian Priest is going to cash in. This is the way you keep him away from tag team championships and otherwise, so he can cash in. So I'm going to go Judgment Day as 4th. New Catch Republic as 3. I like them. I'm just not sure they're those guys to be the tag team. You know me, I'm a tag team kind of guy. They need to be together for a little bit. I like New Catch Republic. I like them as, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne separately. Together, I need to see a little bit more. I'm going DIY as number 2. Take either or side. I don't care what it is. It's a long time for those guys to have championships. Gargano hasn't been on it. WrestleMania, neither has Ciampa. Great way to do it, but number 1, it's got to be Awesome Truth. I said it before this even step even happened. It was Awesome Truth to begin with. That was the whole story. Truth has been the centerpiece in some form or fashion with this whole Judgment Day kind of, I'm paying you money or whatever the case may be, and then fast forward it, now you have them going for the tag team championships. It just makes too much sense. I just kind of wish they would have done it. I guess here's the question back to you. Would you want them to keep the titles together? Or are you okay with them separating the titles?
Oh, I'm completely fine with them separating the titles. I feel like the time is now to separate them. They shouldn't be unified. There should be more belts, and there should be more guys walking around with belts. That I know that I think differently than most other people, but that is my opinion. So what was your order? You have New Day and A-Town down under last.
Judgment Day, Catch Republic, DIY, Awesome Truth.
Did you already say that?
I'll just say it again, just least and most.
No. I know that you already said, but I walked away for a while and I talked to Aaron, and then I took a piss and I came back, and you were asking me that question while I sat down. Great. I was like, "This is like unbelievable timing."
That's great. No, there's gonna be because
I was like, he's good. I was like, he's good for a minute and a half.
You give me too much credit. I'm good for 2 minutes, motherfucker. You know me. I can bloviate like nobody's business. No, honestly, I think that for me, in this scenario, I have no problem with them splitting the titles. It just kind of felt weird because now all of a sudden they did it, and it's the last minute, and so now one team can win the tag team championships, which is fine.
They should have mentioned it like 5 weeks ago and then never mentioned it again.
Right, exactly. Neither here nor there. It's okay.
4th match on the card, we have Battle of the Brothers. We have Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. Jason, I'll let you go first here.
I'm really surprised that this is not the curtain jerker. What did we say the curtain jerker was on this night?
Ripley and Becky.
Wow. Okay. Yikes. Okay. For me, I'll just say this. Number 1, I really enjoy the build for this particular match, brother versus brother, and we talked about this a year ago. That's the crazy part about this. A year ago, we were like, can WWE extend this feud from a year to a year? And they did it. Oh. And for me, I am ready for this motherfucker. I cannot stand Jimmy Uso at this point. Now his little silly grin is now my fucking, it's the bane of my existence. I want to see Jay smack that silly grin off his fucking face. Fuck your, your audibles and you're the backup quarterback and all that other bullshit. Now Jimmy Uso's, at least for me, the lack of his character or whatever the case may be, the things I didn't like about Jimmy Uso is now coming up to play, where the fact that I didn't like Jimmy Uso is now coming to play where I want to see him lose, and that's a great heel.
So you're
picking Jey Uso at this point.
So you're picking with your heart. So you're picking. You're picking like a mark.
Yes. I want to see Jimmy Uso take the L. He's one that he. I don't even think he was a really good heel. I think I'll give Breebeer in this credit more so in that sense where I really didn't like Jimmy. He was a big Jimmy guy post. The breakup of the bloodline or whatever. He liked Jimmy Uso, at least in my head. For me, I was never a big
I couldn't tell him apart to the
Jimmy
bloodline thing.
Until Jimmy Uso started to fuck Jay over, that's when I didn't like Jimmy, and now you got me on board. I thought this probably should have been the curtain jerker.
I think it should have been the curtain jerker.
I don't think that Rhea Ripley is Rhea Ripley versus Jesus Christ.
Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch is a bad thing. I just think that whatever happens there dictates what happens at the end. And I'll leave it at that.
Zach took Jay also. I am taking Jimmy. I think that this is I think this is not the curtain jerker because Jay is not going over.
For a reason.
Yeah. So, and I think that it would make more storyline sense that the bloodline just looks strong as fuck throughout the entire weekend. I might have just given away another one of my picks right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I'm trying to put myself in Triple H's shoes, and I'm trying to follow through with what I think is going to happen this weekend. And I am picking Jimmy for storyline reasons. I'm looking forward to that match, though. There's a lot of intrigue in all of these matches.
Somebody called this.
There are no slam dunks. There are no slam dunks. These matches could go either way.
Somebody called this mid-card mania. I'm like, damn, if this is mid-card mania, I would love to see what the fuck you can do.
Who fucking said that?
It was on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and they showed both cards, and it was literally after not the order of the cards, but
The Rock is at WrestleMania. How could it be mid-card? This is
one of the better WrestleManias that I've literally like
the card. The card itself is the best WrestleMania card they've ever had. You look back at some WrestleManias, you're like, that was a fucking match. You can't believe it. And there's one on this card where you're like, what? You're gonna look back in a year and not even remember it.
Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler is a match that happened at WrestleMania. So you're going to tell me that match
one night it was a one-night WrestleMania.
Right, exactly. So we had to grind through that motherfucker versus, you have the 2 nights, and now you're going to tell me that match is better than these other matches. I'm like, dude, you've got to be out your fucking mind. I might not agree with
Michael Cole going over in that match, by the way.
It's ridiculous.
One of the most Vince moves of all time.
All time. Bye, Vince. Go ahead.
It's like him busting his quads and then him booking that match.
You know what? I'm going to still pin this motherfucker. I'm going to pin John Cena with a busted quad. Get me over here. No, drag me over here.
That is
count to 3.
That's the worst thing that Vince has ever done.
What's next, motherfucker?
Okay, so this is going to be my Stone Cold Lead Pipe block of the week. We have Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill versus Damage Control. I have I'm not going to tell you what's. Hold on, my brother's.
Where you gonna call?
I've heard him called the Power.
Where you gonna call?
I've heard him called the Power Buff Girls.
Oh, that's loaded. There's some jokes there.
I'll say this: I'm taking the baby faces.
I'm taking the baby faces too. No reason in the world that you're going to have Jade lose this match on this stage. I'll go this far. If I think I know Triple H, like I think I do, this might be a precursor to Bianca Jade next year.
Well, yeah,
WrestleMania, fill in the blank.
But she's not going to turn. She's not going to turn the first night.
No. Ultimately, if this is going to happen, I would say Jade would be the easier person to turn heel Bianca stays babyface. One of the other wins the title, and then you have the title on the line at WrestleMania 41.
Is that your Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock of the week?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, at least for night one, if you want to do, separate nights. So
yeah, we'll do two. We'll do two.
Okay, for night one, I think that this is the slam dunk.
Yeah, I mean,
can you not push Jade any more than this? This is the one time where your heart of hearts, when you like Jade, you don't like Jade, or whatever the case may be. Oh, she's Angel Reese, whatever, motherfucker. Guess who's getting ready to win on Saturday night? It's going to be the baby faces on this one. I think Jade and Bianca is going to be. This is where that start of their feud starts, and it's going to be culminated at WrestleMania 41 next year.
Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. Jason, I'll let you go first.
I kind of wanted to see Ray versus Dom part 2, and that just kind of is what it is, because I thought the first one was really good. Obviously, Ray gets the nod in that first one. The second one, I kind of
first one was incredible.
Yeah, and both entrances are great. The match was really good. The crowd was into it. It was one of the.
Oh man, Dom's entrance was fucking awesome.
So good. it was like literally like damn. Dom was that heel to begin with, but then having him being more of a criminal, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, it was so.
Who you taking?
Good. I'm going to take, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm going to take the baby faces on this one. I don't want to. I'm a Dom guy. I'm a Santos guy. I think they should both go over. I just don't feel like there's a reason for them to go over, if that makes sense.
Well,
if it was one-on-one, I would take Dom. So that way you can even it up and you can have a tiebreaker next year in 41. It probably can happen this year. I'm probably thinking it over too much. I'm going to still take the baby faces. I'm going to take Dragon, because it's Dragon Lee.
Yeah, I am
Dragon
taking...
Lee needs to get over.
I don't know why Zach took the heels, but I am also taking...
No, I think...
No, Zach's taking the heels.
I gave us a reason.
Well, I don't know why he took the heels, but I know why I'm taking the heels, right. And it's because I'm calling a Carlito turn.
Right. I've heard a lot of people say that, and I wouldn't be necessarily, opposed to it. I just, what happens after that? What's the build to it? You
get Carlito versus Dragon Lee, and then you get Ray versus Dom.
And okay, which is completely fair. I will just say this. Carlito hasn't done much since him coming to the back to the WWE. I think that was in Puerto Rico for No Way Out. From that point, okay, it's just kind of been like, middling. He's feuded here or there, whatever the case may be. If it was like Trent Beretta, and I know we're probably jumping a little ahead, I would be more apt to say that I would be more apt to say, okay, Carlito needs to be turning heel. To me, Carlito turning heel is 50-50. I popped too because I was like, fucking A, right. We called that shit.
Yeah, we called that shit.
It took a while, but we called that shit.
Yeah. And then finally, we have the Bloodline versus Seth and Cody. So I'll tell you that Zach took the Bloodline. Jason, what say you?
I'm taking the Bloodline. To me, one pick, at least in my mind, one pick, flips over to the other. I would really, in a scenario where it's the Bloodline, how they operate, but there's so much that can happen if they win night one.
Save
it for that.
Do we see Stone Cold Steve Austin this weekend?
I'll hold that for night two.
God damn! I'm
taking the Bloodline, and I'll just hold that off for night two.
I'm taking the Bloodline too. They're not going to They're not going to have The Rock and not have him be on screen during the main event segment of each night of WrestleMania XL. They're just not going to do it. It's not going to be Cody versus Roman straight up. Sorry, Jim Cornette, probably. But it is going to be shenanigans galore. It's going to be a shit show. It's going to be pro wrestling. And I, for one, am fucking here for it.
I've already said I've signed up for that. I'm just going to ask you one question. If there was a Swerve that was, I just heard this today, and I'm just going to throw this out there. If Triple H decided that he wanted to screw over Cody Rhodes and allowed shit to happen on night 2, marinate on that. I'm not asking you to answer the question yet. I know we're going to ring the bell to go to night 2. Yeah. Marinate on that, and then let's talk about that later.
Don't need to marinate on it very long, but I will, out of respect for you. You've asked me to, so I will marinate on that. So those are our night 1 predictions. Let's get to that 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
2 count is night 2 of WrestleMania XL. So the curtain jerker on night 2 is Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins for the heavyweight championship, for Seth's heavyweight championship. Jason, I'll let you go first. Who you got?
Not the way I would have predicted night 2, but I guess let's go down my thinking. I've said that Damian Priest is going to be the guy that jumps into this whole nonsense. So with that being a curtain jerker, can Damian Priest come in night 2 and win the title? I'm going to say, God damn, because it's a true story. This is the first time I'm hearing the order of the matches. I don't even care. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre winning the title. Even if Damian Priest comes in to cash in, now that I'm starting to just commit to Drew McIntyre, somehow, some way, Damian Priest drops the ball, which is a smidge disappointing, but I think you went this long, so you really didn't. If you really wanted if you wanted Damian Priest to win the title, you wouldn't have waited this long. For me, it's kind of like you waited this long for a reason. You're kind of on Damian Priest's team, but you're not rooting on Damian Priest's team. Drew McIntyre has done the Lord's work, especially when it comes against CM Punk. I think ultimately that's the play. I'm going to take Drew McIntyre, knock on wood, to win over Seth Rollins, even with a cash-in, unsuccessfully with Damian Priest. There it is. There you go.
I am also taking Drew McIntyre, so is Zach. I am taking Drew McIntyre, and I am saying that this is going to be a pseudo squash match. I think that Seth is going to be so softened up from the night before, so Seth is fighting in the main event in night 1 and the curtain jerker in night 2.
And it's the curtain jerker on night 2.
So he is going to be banged up. Drew McIntyre has said, I'm not going to get the main event that I want, but I'm going to get the main event that I deserve. That makes me think that Drew knows.
If he wins in front of champion or in front of fans the way he didn't win,
and he wins
Brock Lesnar,
and he wins in front of CM Punk, and he's going to win big. That is my prediction. It's a bold prediction. I feel good about it. But
squash is okay. So let's just define a squash. Is this under 5 minutes? Is this under 10 minutes?
I would set the over under at 7, and I would have
I'll take the over,
and I would have to think long and hard about it. But listen, I don't think that I'm right either. I think that they're probably not going to do it. This is me hoping for it. I would love to see Drew go over as strong as fucking possible.
William H., I'll say this much. You said a lot of crazy shit on the 300 and plus episodes on BFR.
Yeah.
This actually kind of makes sense. especially when you have the tag team match as the end of night one, and if they're going to stick to the script, and this is going to open the door for night two in kayfabe style, Seth Rollins is going to come in banged up. Yeah. And now you have to close one door and open the other. And Seth, if you've ever worked in a restaurant, that's the close open, and you don't want that. Okay?
Seth
that's
is
the last thing you want.
Seth is the type of guy that will come out on a Raw after a pay-per-view and still be selling the match from the night before. He's an old school guy in that way. So there's Seth understands wrestling, and he knows that it's going to make sense if he comes out looking like fucking Superman. Then that doesn't put over Roman and The Rock and the Bloodline. You know what I mean? So it's
especially if in our scenario, if you're saying that they're going to lose, so now all of a sudden you're going to have them have the baby faces lose, but then all of a sudden, Seth's going to bounce back the next night and defend the title. And
another massive point is that Seth has been vocal about not taking Drew McIntyre very seriously for this. He said, "You're the one that I'm least worried about." If Triple H is the incredible booker that he seems to be, he would set that up. Part of Seth Rollins' new character is that he overlooked Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre was fucking furious about it and just fucking slaughtered him.
And Drew just was like, "Hey, you keep looking over. You need to worry about this. Worry about worry about the Raw title." Blah,
this
blah, blah.
also would mean that Seth Rollins would not be able to come to Cody's aid in a Bloodline Rules match at the end, which could set up some other things. So, man,
I love you right now.
kind of talking my way, kind of talking myself into this being my Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock of the week. I think I'd be a pussy if I didn't do it at this point. I'm going to make that my Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock of the week. I'm taking McIntyre. All right, coming up next, I got to let the dog in, so talk for a minute. Coming up next, we have Io Sky versus Bayley for the Women's Championship. Go.
This is a good time for having me to talk about it because it's one of those matches where I think I was torn coming in. I'm probably still torn right now, so I'm gonna just talk myself into a prediction. Io Sky is one of the women that I think is obviously on top of the women's division. Amazing talent. I've always said that I wish she would win matches clean, and up to this point, she hasn't won matches clean. I'm a big, I'm a heel guy, and I like the heels, to win. But every now and then, I like the heel to win, clean. Every now and then, I don't ask the heels to win clean a lot, but every now and then, I love to see that. Bayley, on the flip side of it, just feels like that girl right now. Just getting beaten down by Damage Control. Whether it's Io, Asuka, Kyrie, whatever the case may be. This is a match that was hot to start and then kind of, cooled off a little bit because Becky and Rhea's gotten hot on the back end. This is one of the matches I'm kind of excited to see because I'm curious on the booking.
Who are you taking?
I'm going to take Bayley.
All right.
I don't want to. I really don't want to because for me, Io Sky is an amazing talent, and I don't think that we've seen enough of her just winning matches clean. I mean, fuck.
Oh, you're taking the words right out of my mouth. I'm taking Bayley also. Io Sky. Listen. I'm not very hyped for this match. This is the one that I look at and I'm like, I really don't care. And I think the reason I really don't care, they haven't given Io Sky any signature wins at all. So the whole time she's just been wrapped up in this mean girl shit with Bayley, and it's just I'm not as up on this as everybody else is, but I am taking Bayley, and Zach is taking Bayley also.
I'll just say this. And it's not a knock against Io Sky. To me, and I like the heels. I don't mind if, the heels getting involved, where it's the Bloodline or, the Four Horsemen or NW or whatever the case may be. But every now and then, every now and then, out of 10 matches, Hulk Hogan will win a match as a heel clean. Ric Flair, same way.
Yeah, it's got to be
same way.
Triple H. That's all he did was win. It's got to be done at some point.
And that's all I've ever asked.
Yeah. LA Knight versus AJ Styles. This is one where I'd give the build a pretty low grade. I feel like I should be more hyped for this match, but I am not a very big LA Knight in-ring fan. I think
you are not.
I think he kind of sucks.
God damn.
AJ,
he's not that bad.
AJ Styles does not suck.
No.
AJ Styles is like the heel here, but I don't know. He just doesn't seem very heelish to me. LA Knight's the babyface here. Live crowds still really react to LA Knight. It's got to be tough if you're LA Knight to see The Rock walk through the door, though. It's like he can't,
Some bitch.
But I am taking LA Knight. I think that they're going to give him a big signature WrestleMania win. And I expect this match to be pretty good. I mean, AJ Styles pulled a fucking spectacular match out of Shane McMahon, who...
Okay, number one.
Who has a worse who has a worse worked punch than Sue from The Best Friends?
she quote unquote slapped that dude. I was like, oh, did you even touch him? Another story for another time. We'll hold off on that for 30 seconds.
Zach and I both have LA Knight. Who you got?
I have to agree. I mean, for me, AJ is on the back end of what is an amazing career, but LA Knight, at least in WWE terms, is on the ascend. I'll ask you this. Is there a scenario where like LA Knight has come in the door and he hasn't performed well? I mean, this is God forbid if you're okay. Obviously, that's the question of yes. So now you have AJ Styles in front of him. This is going to be a golden opportunity for you to be converted to LA Knight.
Yes.
If you are going to be converted. Yeah. If you're not, then so be it.
I mean,
but AJ Styles.
Not really.
Over.
I think that it's going to be good. Like, LA Knight's not going to do anything that's going to make me think, wow, this guy's, he's got something more in ring than I thought he did. And, this is not what he gets talked about at all. He gets talked about being a fun promo. He gets talked about for being super over. He gets talked about for being a Rock Stone Cold ripoff. Yeah. He does not get talked about for his in-ring stuff. And listen, I'll tell you what, I haven't gone back and watched it, but fuck it. It's my podcast and I can say what I want. That Roman Reigns LA Knight match was bad. That was not a good match. It sucked.
No, I think we all agreed upon that, and I'll double down
fucking
on
tough enough match.
It was one of the least favorite Roman Reigns title matches I've seen in his long tenure. Obviously, over 1,000, 1,300 days, blah blah blah. It was
about 10 matches.
It was in this scenario. It was a fatal 4-way. So
he averages one. No, I'm talking about the singles match in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, that was okay. I can't necessarily say I disagree that much either. That I expected a little more. It kind of fell a little flat. I just don't think
fucking tough enough match, dude.
Could you go? No, let's not go that far now, motherfucker. Slow down. I don't think that it was a tough enough match. I don't think that LA Knight was going to win the title.
Armbar.
Somewhere in between.
Lariat.
Headlock.
Superman punch. Superman punch. Superman punch.
Can we just hold off on Chris Jericho for 30 seconds? Okay.
Superman punch.
Get to him in a little bit.
Fucking lame.
What's next, motherfucker?
Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. I'll go first here. Zach and I have the same. We have the exact same picks all night. And so far you are too. But I'll go least to most. I got, as much as it pains me, I got my boy Kevin Owens fight as least likely. I'll take RKO as second. I'll take Logan Paul as the most likely to retain his U.S. championship. Zach has the same thing. I'm really looking forward to this, though. I think this is going to fucking rule. Triple threat, Biggie special. I think it. I mean, this match is a sleeper. This match could fucking rule.
I think it's going to. And now the biggest problem with this is that we're not seeing what's going to happen tomorrow night before we make our picks. I think tomorrow night is going to be the catalyst between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, to where this is where they have some strife, and now there's tension between them. Obviously, tension between Orton and KO versus Logan Paul. So now you have the match. As much as I like both guys, and I met Randy Orton, in real life. We had conversation. It's Logan's Paul time, and God forbid, and I want to say God forbid because it's not like I'm a Logan Paul guy like that, but if he lost the title, then Logan Paul would have to be elevated, and I would think that's almost a precursor to what would happen on the main event, because that would mean that, to me, it's not Roman Reigns winning. It would be somebody else winning, but another story for another minute. I'm going to take Logan Paul number 1, Randy Orton 2, KO number 3. No knock against KO, but it just kind of feels like KO is one of those guys that you can allow, quote unquote, to take an L and he's okay, which is kind of, I almost feel bad for KO in this scenario.
He's making money.
No, dude, he's the guy that's like, he can take the loss. Let KO take the loss. And then at a certain point where you let that happen over and over again, KO's taking losses for a bunch of months. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but now we're just saying Kevin Owens is over enough where now he can take the L. Randy Orton just came back, so we can't just let Randy Orton take the loss. And like I said, I like both guys, but I don't want to get into a scenario where Kevin Owens could get the loss because he's so over.
Coming up next,
he's so over so much, but let's just not get in that scenario.
We have the match that you're going to look back on this WrestleMania in a couple of years, and you're going to be like, "What?"
I know where you're going.
Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits are facing. So Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits are now called the Pride. They're called the Pride. Yeah, they're called the Pride.
Oh God!
And
oh my God!
They are the Pride versus the Jehovah's Witnesses. What are these guys called?
Oh, Final Testament. Jesus Christ. Oh, okay, there you go.
So stupid.
You're talking about swerving our glory. I mean, either or is worse than swerving our glory. Can we agree with that, number one?
Yes, Final Testament and the Pride are both better than swerving our glory.
I'll let you guys go first. I don't give two shits about
I'm
this.
taking the Pride. I'm taking the Pride. This is such a weird match.
I'll just go for shits and giggles. I'll take the baby. I'll take the heels. I'll take Final Testament. I don't give a shit what happens.
I should remind everybody that you are in dead last.
I don't give a fuck if I am dead last. I will still take Final Testament. Why? Because I took Finn over Edge last year and I won that shit. I don't give a fuck. This feud matters not. Okay.
Finn went over Edge last year.
No, Finn won last year. It was the
he did?
Yeah, he won last year. It was like the no holds barred or whatever.
Was he the demon?
Won last year. It was kind of wonky, but Finn won last year.
Was he the demon?
No, and he was like, he's gonna come out as the demon. No.
Man, I don't even remember. I remember that, but not really.
It was one actually because Finn got busted open. And that's the one thing that was the big thing about the match. Outside of that, it was good, not great.
Fine.
This is kind of the same thing. I don't give a fuck about Final Testament. You made me.
You're
not
a Final
care
Testament,
about
Mark.
Bobby Lashley. No, you made me not care about.
You're
Bobby
a Final
Lashley,
Testament, Mark. You fucking love him.
No, No, I love the fact that Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits is going to be heels, and then all of a sudden they talk themselves out of it. I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? No, and now nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck about this match. The fact that it's even, I'll go this far. Hot take. I'd rather have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on this pay-per-view, PLE, versus Bobby Lashley, what are they called again?
The Pride.
The Profits? The Pride. Get the fuck out of here. Versus the final.
The Pride and the Powerful.
I'd rather have that on the pre-show versus you can put the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on the main show.
No, Andrade's going to win that thing.
Okay, could you even a year from now? I guarantee you, we wouldn't even remember what team wins this match or who won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Doesn't matter. You can switch them. It doesn't fucking matter.
Man, I just had a hard time remembering that Finn Balor fought Edge last year. Of course I'm going to forget about this shit. And then finally we have Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. All three of us picked the Bloodline in night one, which means logistically, it would be a Bloodline rules match here. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Just, I can't imagine looking forward to a main event of a WWE pay-per-view like this in quite some time. So much intrigue around this story right now. And it is looking... Raw ended with Cody and Seth taking a fucking beat down from The Rock and Roman Reigns. I mean, God damn. For real, The Rock was quite violent and pretty cool. Zach, we'll let Zach go first. He's taking Cody Rhodes. I, too, am taking Cody Rhodes, even though I've said in the past I will pick Roman Reigns until I cannot pick Roman until Roman Reigns gets me wrong. It's the Gunther clause. But I just cannot, and I broke that rule last year in WrestleMania, and I was wrong. And I cannot not take Cody Rhodes. I'm taking Cody.
I'll ask you this, and this is, before I make my quote-unquote official pick. I heard this on a podcast, I guess it was 2 days ago, and I was just, I damn near wrecked my car when I thought I heard this. I was like, oh shit, this could actually possibly happen. Not The Rock. Could Triple H flip on Cody and make this a modern day, not the Vince. I can't remember what
I think if anything, if Triple H gets involved at all, it'll be as a babyface, because they had that moment at the Vegas press conference when Rock got in Triple H's face in the back
and said, "Fix this."
Yeah, and he said, "Fix this." And Triple H, we haven't seen him since then. I do not see. I see Triple H. Maybe if Triple H gets involved, it'll be as a babyface. That is my prediction.
I'm going to offer you. I will concede you that. I'm going to offer you this in the return. And I can't remember when this happened, but I think it was when Cody Rhodes was going to wrestle Seth in the third match, and he had the bad pec injury. And before that match, Triple H and Cody Rhodes had a backstage segment, and Triple H was like, maybe you shouldn't do this match. And Cody Rhodes was like, hey, I got this. And there's a lot of different podcasts that have referenced this spot to where now, if you wanted to have Triple H flip on Cody Rhodes, this is the genesis of it.
I could see them doing that the Raw after WrestleMania. I do not see them doing that at WrestleMania.
Okay, so that answers.
I don't see them doing an angle that big from out of nowhere at WrestleMania. That's why, I know that if the glass broke and Austin came down, it would be the fucking pop of the fucking millennium.
Especially in
but
that
I just
scenario
can't get myself.
All the chips are in the middle.
I just can't get myself there to imagine it's going to happen. It seems like too big of an angle or something. I don't know.
Okay, I'll go.
I mean, as an angle, as opposed to just like, hey, this is where feud's gonna die, WrestleMania, right? Like old school.
I honestly, and I hate to be 3 beer on this one because I'm more of the fan, and 3 beer is more of the business aspect of it. You know,
he's our finance guy.
Money goes right. I think in my heart of hearts, I'm gonna make the pick right now. I'm gonna take Cody Rhodes, but I guess ultimately where this goes, where the business goes. I think people want to see Cody Rhodes versus Cody Rhodes versus The Rock. That was a huge pop. You saw them in the ring together at the same time. If you wanted to flip it and have, as crazy as it may seem right now, but you said this, and it's one of the things I take away from with professional wrestling. It's one of the basic principles. A great heel can turn into a great babyface. Roman Reigns has been one of the biggest heels in the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh yeah.
What if The Rock, decide to flip on him and
I think that is way more likely. I think that's way more likely. But also seems like something that's not going to happen at WrestleMania.
You don't think?
No, even you know what? Maybe it is.
You don't think?
I don't know. That's the thing. I can totally see it either way.
Can we not agree? And I already made my pick, and let's just debate this for 30 seconds. Did you not think? I'd have never thought in my heart of hearts I'd have seen Vince McMahon and Steve Austin on the same page, but all of a sudden they got on the same page in kayfabe style against The Rock. So now, can we not see that in WrestleMania 40? Just weird shit. Cody put the sledgehammer on the throne back when AEW was initially a thing.
Yeah, they could get a lot of mileage out of that.
And it's not above WWE, Vince, Triple H, whomever you want to, put in that spot to be petty. That was on that was one of the big spots of AEW. That was their, we're here kind of moment. That's their mark. Okay, so be it. Cody smashes the fucking Triple H throne. So now Cody can't come back to WWE, and he came back. Same way with CM Punk. We'll talk about him in a minute.
It is just so fucking juicy, man. It is just
There's so many fucking options that could possibly happen.
And that could possibly work. That's the other thing. There's lots of ways. They could go like 5 different ways, and all of them have the possibility of working. There's only a few that don't have any possibility of working.
If Rock decided to flip at the last minute,
or if they were like Rock and Cody were in on it together the whole time, or some shit like that.
That's the only thing I would be like, that would not work.
That would suck.
You would really have to just be like, okay, we have to really just make this shit believable. Yeah. Anything else besides
I don't think that's
what
they're doing. Though.
Wouldn't work. No, I don't think it does. Ultimately, I'll say this, and once again, I don't even want to give, and I won't give the podcast credit, but I like this thought. Rock Roman next year for 41. Cody Rhodes, John Cena next year 41.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see Cena back. I'd rather see.
I don't want to see Cena back either, but if Cena comes back as a heel, or if you build Cena up to where now Cena has to beat Cody Rhodes to get to
when people talk about
17.
When people talk about maybe Austin and Cena will come out together, it's like, oh, that is so lame. Like John Cena is so much lamer than Stone Cold Steve Austin. They shouldn't even be They shouldn't even have pictures taken. They shouldn't even have pictures taken together.
Okay.
You know I'm right.
So let's just debate this for 30 seconds. So if push comes to shove and the bloodline comes out, you wouldn't want to see Austin and or John Cena come out to save.
Not at all. I'd rather see Austin. I'd rather see Austin and Goldust. That would fucking pop me.
I'm sorry, man. Okay.
Gold Dust comes down in full gold dust, and like the camera thing changes, and there's all sparkles and everything.
It's like, what? Okay, I'll just say this, and we can move on at this point.
Yeah, we will.
I would not be mad if either or comes out to make the save. But once again, they put that truck out there for a reason. Can we not agree upon that?
Yeah, maybe.
Fair enough.
Maybe.
We'll just see what happens on Sunday.
So,
I think one of the others pops out on Sunday night. Not both, but one or the other.
Very excited for WrestleMania this weekend. I'll be watching Friday night over here, or Saturday night over here, and then Sunday night, I don't know, maybe Jinder Mahal's place.
Yep, it's going down, baby.
But so all of us had the exact same picks for night 2, except you took the Final Testament against the Pride.
Yeah.
Because you're such a Final Testament mark. That's going to do it. That's our WrestleMania predictions. Tune back in next week to see how right I was. Let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
All right, Jason, what's the 2 count? I'm going potty.
Let's just go with Stand and Deliver. We'll just go with that. No, actually, let's go with AEW. We'll just go a bunch of AEW shit. That'll give the big guy time to go piss. Rampage, not a big deal. It opened up with Dustin Rhodes versus The Butcher. Dustin Rhodes wins that. I'm not sure what's happening there, but Dustin Rhodes gets the dub. You had Bullet Club Gold breaking into Billy Gunn's apartment, or whatever the case may be. I'm sorry. Did we not just see this with one of the greatest fucking angles with Swerve and Prince Nana breaking into Hangman's apartment, or whatever the case may be? That was way more entertaining than what the fuck this was. I mean, give me a fucking break. I mean, this is what I'm talking. Okay, fine.
What you talking about?
This is gonna be the Billy Gunn Bullet Club segment on Rampage when Bullet Club breaks into.
This is what you're leading with, huh? That was terrible.
Okay, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying we saw this, number one, and number two, what does this fucking do? It's not doing anything for the number one guy amongst the 6 guys. This motherfucker, that's Jay White. Okay, Jay White is one of the motherfuckers like
Future Beaver, Bang Bang Scissor Gang.
Fuck Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Jay White is being lost in the sauce. There are Penta is one of those guys that he just popped out of nowhere. He's going to face fucking Adam Copeland.
Why is Billy Gunn beating the shit out of Jay White?
It shouldn't happen. And
no, it should not happen. It's ridiculous.
That was the first thing, or not the first thing, but one of my biggest problems with him going to AEW is that this could happen. He lost in the sauce, and now all of a sudden he's feuding with Billy fucking Gunn. Get the fuck up out of here. Deanna Purrazzo beat some chick named Rose, one named Rose. You fill in the blank. Mariah May beats Nikita, and then Roddy Strong beats your boy Matt Menard in a AEW International title contenders match, whatever, blah blah blah. Good shout out to Matt Menard. It was a good match, but Roddy Strong.
Oh, he's the man.
He totally is the man. No disagreement about that. Let's go over the collision.
He's on my Mount
for
Rushmore.
30 seconds. You had Matt Cardona answering the call for Adam Copeland's open challenge as the first TNT champion. I kind of like Matt Cardona. I wouldn't say kind of like Matt Cardona. I like Matt Cardona. I thought he was going to be a part of AEW when Cody was the guy in AEW, and that
they
never
boys.
happened. They are boys. Good showing for Matt Cardona. Good showing for Adam Copeland. Obviously, Adam Copeland gets the retention. No matter, neither here nor there. No big deal. FTR kind of talks about a little March Madness. It was cute because it was March Madness, and they could get upset by the infantry. That shit wasn't going to happen. But neither here nor there. Acclaim and Billy Gunn comes out to address the fact that we just had this fucking seen before where Prince Nana and Swerve did it so much better. Neither here or there. Can we just make the fucking AEW, ROH, unification trios, 6-man, whatever. We don't need 2 6-man tag team championships. It would be cool if you had, a bunch of guys that would run around there to have that shit. They don't. They really fucking don't. It's 2 teams. Just unify that and let's move on. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff on Collision was just okay. There is some interesting stuff that came out of it, though, such as, so we're getting Edge, Malik, or
Edge. We are now.
Yeah, it's Edge, Eddie Kingston, and who else?
Mark Briscoe.
Oh, and Mark Briscoe versus the House of Black, and we are going to get that at AEW Dynasty. Are you excited to see that live?
Well, shit. I mean, beforehand, and this was, shout out to our missing compadre, 3-Beer. He was like, Supercard Honor is coming up on Friday. I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot about that. Eddie Kingston is, defending the ROH Championship against Mark Briscoe. A year ago, this would have been a big fucking deal, and now a year later, it's just kind of like it slid underneath the radar. I'm mad at TK for the fact that now you had this whole, Continental Classic, tournament, and we're merging, quote unquote, these titles and all this other shit. And now you could have had Eddie Kingston defend the ROH Championship, defend the New Japan Championship, defend, the Continental Championship, whatever the case may be.
What do you think about Top Flight going over Ricky Starks and Big Bill?
I'm mad for Ricky Starks, and that was the guy that. I thought if there was anybody that should be the TNT champion over Adam Copeland, shouldn't it be Ricky Starks? I mean, damn, what more can Ricky Starks can do than what he's already done? There's always been God bless Ricky Starks, but there's always been something, some obstacle, something that has happened, whether it's CM Punk or injury or whatever the case may be, that has fucked Ricky Starks over. The fact that we haven't seen him since they dropped the titles to Sting and Darby is crazy. That's borderline unacceptable. And now they pop up in a scenario where they probably should win, and they didn't win. I don't know if Ricky Starks was hurt. He didn't. It's just an indictment on how deep, and I keep saying this, the AEW cuts might be a little, quote unquote cursion to this shit, and it's not even a huge deal. It's not like they cut anybody big, but when you have a roster this size, this loaded, Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, other guys start sliding underneath the radar for no apparent reason. Why is Ricky Starks losing at this point? Can they not beat Top Flight?
Bryan Danielson, Claudio, and Shibata face the Righteous and Lance Archer. I kind of hate the Righteous, man.
Can you not take the Righteous seriously? I mean, they lost to MJF by himself. The way that
I don't even care about that. It's the way that guy snaps when he's coming down the ramp. I just fucking.
That's fine. I don't give a fuck about that.
I hate him.
You can't put, at least in my mind, you can't have the Righteous out there and I take them as credible threats. You can't put Lance Archer next to them and have them as credible threats. Lance Archer he challenged Moxley 2 or 3 years ago and haven't been close to that level since.
Love Lance Archer. Okay? He's old and big, man.
And that's fine. Can he not be the TNT champion? I'm not asking him to be the champ. Can you not have him be the monster heel in the mid card? Easily. But no, you don't want to do that.
What did you think about Edge's promo to lead? Sorry, I'm moving this along. What did you think about Edge's promo that led off Dynamite? Did you think that it was a response? Do you think that it was a direct response to the CM Punk interview?
Yes, right, wrong, or indifferent. I totally think it was a response to that. Because, I mean, just for the fact that it was sequential, number one, but Edge never said CM Punk. He never. Copeland never said about, certain things you can't talk about. And obviously, I cannot wait to talk about the CM Punk interview. There was obvious. He didn't come out for no reason. This was a rebuttal. It was like, here's Donald Trump.
He said, I asked for this time.
Right.
He asked Tony for the time.
Okay, so it'd be like the guy that you didn't want to win the presidential election to come out first, and then the guys you wanted to win to come out second. I don't care who you wanted to win, but for the example, Joe Biden won, so he comes out first, and then the Republican side comes out after the fact in the State of the Union dress. That to me was exactly what this was.
Oh, okay.
Trump came out first. No, can we not agree?
No, I see what you're saying. I wasn't following your metaphor there for a second.
Punk came out first, and then he had this interview for, and it wasn't even solicited or whatever. It just quote unquote so happened that Punk came out. Ariel Hawaii had this great interview, or whatever the case may be, and we got some backstory about what happened. On AEW side of it. A lot more
CM Punk coming up.
Right. Tony Khan, at least in my mind, was like, okay, let's do some damage control. There's certain things that CM Punk said in this interview that I don't like. And now I'm going to get one of my guys, in this case, it's, Adam Copeland comes out.
Well, Edge said he asked for the time, though. I think Edge wanted to do it.
Do you think so?
Yeah, that's what I think. I think that was Edge's idea.
It would be. Can we not agree? It would be better if it was an AEW original, somebody that had been there since day one.
No, it makes sense that it was Edge because Edge is somebody who is ostensibly lending credibility to AEW. He is a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest singles wrestlers that we've had in the last 25 years, in terms of how over he is and how popular he is. And he's an old timer. He's a vet. And I think it makes a lot of sense for Adam Copeland to come out and say it. That being said, it didn't seem like he was saying anything that he hasn't said a whole bunch of times before. So it's not like he was treading new ground. He was just kind of putting the company over, which was fine. That was cool.
No, he was putting the company over, but I think he was defending it on the backside as well, where it's like, wrestling is cool. Everybody should love, you can love WWE, you can love New Japan,
right.
You can love, NWA or wherever the case may be.
Yeah.
I don't think he said anything, like you said, I don't think he said anything that was groundbreaking, but to me, this was damage control on the Tony Khan side of the fence to open up.
What you think about Will Ospreay versus Hobbs? Will Ospreay goes over. Hobbs doesn't like it very much at the end. What do you think of it?
No, I think the Golden Goose comment was the one thing I started to take away from it because you knew who was going to go over. It was going to be Will Ospreay. Now at that point, you just for me, fingers crossed. Powerhouse Hobbs as, a former TNT champion, if you remember it or not, I just wanted him to look strong. And at that point, the post-match was, at least it kind of, at least
furthers the story a little bit.
Right. Will Ospreay is the Golden Goose. Okay, if he is, then why are you going to have him go against your own guys? Here or there, the right guy wins over, but Powerhouse Hobbs was good.
I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Danielson versus Lance Archer was fine. Probably went on a little too long. Hook versus Jericho is weird.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. We already talked about Jay White versus Billy Gunn. Willow Nightingale cuts a big old babyface promo, and Mercedes comes out and dances. Then we have the Young Bucks going over the best friends. This is what I want to get to. And then we got the big Trent Beretta turn afterwards. I told you, man, I was sitting on the couch. The wife was sitting on the chair. She was working. I was watching wrestling, and I hooted when Trent Beretta turned on Orange Cassidy. That's what we've been waiting for. The match was a lot of fun, a lot of pro wrestling fun. And, this was really good.
Unfortunately, I won't say who spoiled it for me, but it was spoiled for me coming into it. I'll just say this. If you don't understand why Trent Beretta flipped, God bless you. Trent Beretta, at least in this scenario, has been the guy that has been underneath the Orange Cassidy shadow for a long, long time, right, wrong, or indifferent. And now, in a scenario where you don't have his usual tag team partner, and then you have the guy that you feel that is overshadowing you every single time, and now you as a guy that's looking over at Orange Cassidy is taking the L. It's a perfect opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
It was a guy that it was. If he flipped on Chucky, it would be cool. Flipping on Orange Cassidy makes more impact because, at least in my mind, Orange Cassidy is more over than Chucky T. The fact that his mom was there, even though I knew what was going to happen, Trent's mom was there. It was like, oh, man, he's getting ready to flip. That's even worse. His mom's there. So it was all the right place, right time. I just kind of wish that it was not in the Buck scenario.
I gotta say this. I gotta say this about Sue. She is not a very good performer. They probably shouldn't ask that much of her. They were asking her to sell and asking her to slap people. It was not good.
Nope. Not at all.
And then,
did she even hit this motherfucker or not?
No, I think she was scared to. And we had Swerve and Joe with the contract signing. It gets physical, as you might expect, and Swerve goes to choke Joe. Joe strongman's out of the chain and then makes Swerve bleed. Swerve signs the contract with his blood, tells Joe, I love this shit. What you think about the segment?
Game on, baby. I cannot wait for this match to happen in a couple weeks here. The more and more I'm starting to think about it, is the more and more I'm like, I think that Joe's going to have to go down. I mean, if Swerve loses this, then, I mean, what do you do with Swerve? I mean, there's nothing that you can do with Swerve at this point to make me think that he can be credible unless you bring in like Hangman or something, outside of the box that makes it feels like he's, Swerve that is going to be protected at some point. It's Swerve or bust at this point. I love Joe. He's been a really, really good AEW champion. But it just feels like it's the time. If you don't pull the trigger on Swerve, then when you do it?
Sorry, what'd you say?
I say if you didn't pull the trigger on Swerve right now.
Yeah, it's got to happen in St. Louis.
Yeah, I was going to say it almost hurts. I will only say almost. I said it on Twitter. It hurts Swerve if you don't pull the trigger because now you move him back, and now what?
Yep.
You can bring Heyman back. I think it's more opportunities and more options with Swerve versus Joe right now. Joe's been a great champion. I mean, it's been a short-term championship. And, I'm already here. It is. Here it is. I'm gonna make my fucking dynasty pick right now. I'm taking Swerve. I'm with it.
Swerve should beat Joe and go right into a program with Ospreay.
Whatever. No, actually, I don't want to say Ospreay right away. I was going to say Hangman right away. Get Hangman back because Hangman is a guy that he should be a guy that he should be able to go over. Ospreay is a guy that's like, I don't know. I mean, Ospreay is a guy that I hold in high esteem, and I think is just as good, maybe even better than Swerve. I'll just say it. He's better than Swerve.
No doubt. There's no doubt that he's better than Swerve.
I don't want to see that match right now.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It would be hard for me to be like, okay, Swerve wins this match right now.
I hate to do this, Jason. It's kind of cold, though, and it's kind of late. So, I'm going to move on. That's going to do it for our 3 count. What the fuck did you just say?
Wrap this bitch up.
CM Punk had an incredible 2-hour interview with Ariel Helwani, where he got into all sorts of stuff. Jason, what's your biggest takeaway from this interview?
Honestly, it's 2 things. Number one, CM Punk holds grudges like I do, and it's weird for me to even think that I have something to relate to CM Punk with. But if somebody pisses on my shoes without credibility, Once he said that, I was like, okay. Yeah, if he pissed on my shoes and I do anything, I'd be pissed off too. But the biggest thing to me is the economy or the contradiction of CM Punk, where I can't remember what he said was like, I think he was talking about Jack Perry and how he felt disrespected, and it's it's basically on the same thing about holding the grudge, but I think he's saying like people don't like what I do behind stage, but they don't give credit to what I do opposite of that. I don't know what the fuck CM Punk does that's credible, or we should champion CM Punk.
Well, I thought that it was interesting. That was an interesting detail that he said that Shivani came up to him and was like, "Hey, we need you to come talk to Jack Perry."
Right.
Like that makes me think. He mentioned that he was a consultant. Like he had 2 contracts. One of them was as a consultant to Tony Khan. So it did seem like he had something. Listen, here's the thing. There's no way that story went exactly how he told it. He was really playing it down. I don't know. Kind of lost my train of thought here. Jack Perry probably did. It didn't sound like Jack Perry meant that just for CM Punk only. It sounded like he meant it for CM Punk, Tony Schiavone, and all the guys that were back there saying that you can't do it. And for CM Punk to be like, oh, he was saying it directly at me. It's like for a guy that acts so fucking cool, for him to just be like, well,
right.
he said that into the camera, so now I had to choke him out on my way out to my match. That's still just overreacting and still like really dickhead behavior. So
what he called Collision his show, okay, and that's when I was like, okay, why is it your show? Because Tony Khan decided it was your show, to keep you in the fold. Because ultimately, that's, at least in my mind, that's how Collision happened. Punk wanted to leave, and it was like, no, we're going to make 2 separate shows, kind of like Raw and SmackDown. Now we got Dynamite and Collision. So don't leave. We're going to give you another show, or whatever the case may be. We're going to separate the rosters, blah, blah, blah. Punk, it wasn't,
I thought,
about that, or whatever the case may be. But then ultimately, he's coming back and was like, you can't do this on Saturdays. Do that shit on Wednesdays. How is it all of a sudden your show?
Well, I mean, he said that Tony Khan, I have no idea. He didn't make that clear. Another thing that I thought was even more interesting than the Jack Perry stuff, because honestly, that's exactly how I expected that story to be told. Like, there was nothing.
You thought Jack Perry's a punk?
Yeah, I mean, I know he was a punk. He yelled into the camera. It's like that was clearly directed at somebody. But it's like, okay, if a guy's being a punk, then just let the guy be a punk. Like, who cares? But it's not. I wasn't there. But anyway, it made more sense coming from CM Punk's side. Like I don't know. He sounded pretty reasonable when he said it. That doesn't mean that he's not like like maybe like a sociopath or something. He might be.
What did you think about his comments about AEW not being a company that is credible, not credible, but
he said they're not there to make money, and I was like, yeah, right, that doesn't even like. The way that they book does not seem like they're trying to make money. It seems like they're trying to put on great matches. Like that is the biggest complaint about them, and that's one of the things that I like about it is that it is an alternative. They're not WWE. If a billionaire wants to fucking waste his money to not make money, but to give me AEW, I'm fucking in, dude. Like, so I think that CM Punk's right, but as a fan, I just don't give a fuck. I don't care. It's cool with me. So,
wow.
I
can't say I disagree.
I mean, I think that what he said sounded completely level-headed and smart even. And that, and when he was talking about Hangman Page going into business for himself, like...
Right, okay, there you go. That was the other thing.
To me, that was really interesting when he was talking about that, because that's like, when it never seemed to me like CM Punk was the bad guy in that situation. Like, it always seemed to me that CM Punk was the bad guy when he went out during the scrum and did the shit that he did. Also because I think that Hangman Page is kind of a goof, and I don't take him very seriously. Everything that Punk said there rang true.
It really felt that it rang true, just for the sense that, looking back on it, you can kind of see that CM Punk was kind of like, what the fuck? It's not I'm not going to sit here and backtrack on what I've said about CM Punk. There's certain things about.
Is that what it seems like I'm doing?
No. I'm just speaking for me, because there were certain times where I was like, I agree with CM Punk, where there's certain things that just shouldn't be talked about, where he's like, I don't want to get my friends in trouble with AEW because they still work there right now. And he's like, I'm friends with, this person, that person, whatever the case may be. Fair enough. You're friends with them, but in his mind, he wants to protect them.
I thought he was
on the flip.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, I thought that he was also really gracious when he was talking about Tony Khan specifically. Like, it didn't seem like he doesn't like Tony Khan. Like, it seems like he disagrees with him in a lot of ways, but I mean, it seemed like
it's the most fundamental way.
I heard that he threw AEW under the bus, and I gotta admit, I was expecting worse.
I don't think he threw AEW underneath the bus in the sense of he didn't make them feel like a credible wrestling promotion. And when I say this, to me, the way I took away from it is WWE is always going to be number one, and AEW is an alternative, but they're not here to be a wrestling, just like a ticket turner.
They don't draw. That's what he's saying, is that they don't draw.
Unfortunately, and I'll just say this: when myself and Brett went to AEW a while back, it was a very empty house, and I was a little disappointed. But then on Double or Nothing's Dynasty, when they come here in a couple weeks, I expect them to be a full fucking crowd.
Yeah.
On the flip side of it, when it's pay-per-view time, they pack the house. So I'm like, okay, so, what's the problem? So obviously, on one hand, when it's, when the chips are in the middle, they can pack the house. But on a week-to-week basis, they don't pack the house. So to me, I see what CM Punk is talking about. Tony Khan maybe not be able to, book it the way you should be doing. Maybe he should be doing smaller books or smaller venues on the, the front side. And then, on the back side, when you have Double or Nothing, Dynamite, or not Dynamite, but Dynasty, or, whatever the case may be, you have it to a scenario where you can do it like that. I hate to admit it, but CM Punk kind of has points. And I don't like to get the fact that he has points, but he does have some points.
Don't forget, we used to love CM Punk. I used to fucking love CM Punk. I still just, there's just some kind of the way that he tells the story. It's just, is he lying? It sounds like he's lying.
No, I won't say.
He did bring up that one thing about kicking a dog, but he brought it up in a real sly way, and it made me think, man, did the fucking Young Bucks kick his dog?
But then on the flip side, he's like, when we talk about it in this scenario, we're helping him. So that's why I'm just like, it's almost like he's smarter than us because he's 2 or 3 steps ahead of us. He wants to talk about he wants us to talk about these controversies or whatever the case may be, because it keeps him in the loop, whether he's hurt, healthy, or whatever the case may be. He's still talking about CM Punk.
He's good at what he does. He's a modern pro wrestler. I don't have to like him to admit it, and I still watch every single one of his matches. Let's keep it moving.
Banned from
Okay, we got 2 more pay-per-views to pick, but Jason, I'm going to ask you. We're going to
one word answers. I got it.
Yep, or just one sentence. Okay, Billy Stark versus Queen Aminata. This is Supercard of Honor, Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. Billy Stark versus Queen Aminata for the women's TV belt. Who you got?
God damn, Billy Starks.
Yeah, I got Billy Starks too. Zach is taking Queen Aminata. Kyle Fletcher versus Lee Johnson for the men's TV belt. I have Kyle Fletcher. Zach has Kyle Fletcher. Who you taking?
Okay, yeah, Kyle Fletcher is the TV champion. Lee Johnson, I love him, but yeah, I'll just take Kyle Fletcher on the humbug.
Johnny TV versus Dalton Castle in a fight without honor. Who you got?
Didn't talk about the AEW cuts, but I think the boys being cut from Dalton Castle kind of leads me to think that Johnny TV is going to be the guy. He has his own TV show, whatever. I'll go with Johnny TV.
Ah, fuck! I forgot that the boys got cut. I already wrote down Dalton Castle. I'll keep it. Zach's taking Johnny TV also. We have me, Sarah, and Empress Nexus Venus versus Tam Nakano and the Queen's Quest. Of course, that rolls right off the tongue. I knew exactly who all those people were. I'm just taking Tam Nakano and Queen's Quest. Don't know what's going on. Zach's taking that too. Who you got?
Oh man. Can I ask one question? Is Micah in this match?
Don't know.
Okay. I'll for flip side of it, I'll take EVS, whatever,
Empress, Nexus, Venus, and Mia Sarah. Okay.
Yes.
Undisputed
It's been
Kingdom.
a long time since I watched Stardom.
Undisputed Kingdom versus the Infantry for the ROH Tag Team belts. I am taking United Undisputed Kingdom, and so is Zach. Who are you taking?
The fact that we even have to discuss this and Undisputed Kingdom, I mean, they need to have the win, and since they lost, on regular TV, just on the humbug, but whatever.
Athena versus Hikaru Shida for the women's belt. Who do you have?
I'm gonna take Athena. You brought Shida in for this reason alone, because you're running out of challengers at this point. Shida should probably win, but I'll take Athena.
I'm taking Athena also. Zach took Hikaru Shida, and for the ROH for the ROH Heavyweight Championship, we have Eddie Kingston versus Mark Briscoe. I am taking Mark Briscoe. The year of Eddie Kingston is done. Zach is also taking Mark Briscoe. Who you got?
We're going to make it a sweep, baby. It's going to be Mark Briscoe. It's probably happened a year too late, but neither here nor there. I think it's the worst thing that can happen to Eddie Kingston, because now it feels like he's dropping all of his titles in one fell swoop. The New Japan title, nobody really cares about. I mean, you can name the guy that had it before Eddie Kingston, so be it. But yeah, I'm going to take Mark Briscoe on this one.
And then we're moving on to NXT Stand and Deliver. Sean Spears versus Joe Gacy. Zach and I are taking Sean Spears. Who you got?
I'll take Joe Gacy.
All right. I love it. Ilya Dragunov. Ilya Dragunov versus Tony D'Angelo. I am taking Ilya Dragunov. So, Zach, who you got?
One of the more disappointing builds in all of wrestling.
Really bad.
Yeah. I thought Tony D'Angelo would be built up more. Maybe even flip heel on this one. I'll take Dragunov on this to retain.
All right. Josh Briggs and Dijak and Obafemi in a triple threat match for the North American. Yep. I am taking Obafemi as the most likely, Dijak as second most, and Josh Briggs as third. Zach has the exact same thing. What do you got?
Yeah, I got the same thing. Josh Briggs is the guy that could be the dark horse, so to speak. But Dijak, to me, is Keith Lee. Come on, guys. We forget about Keith Lee and Dijak and have that nice little feud. If it was anybody to win it, it would be Dijak. But I think Obafemi is that guy. And I think somewhere down the line, he'll drop this and be the NXT champion somewhere down the line.
So we have Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. I am going to take Lyra Valkyria, and Zach is taking Roxanne Perez. Jason, who you got?
Oh, I'm the tiebreaker in this motherfucker. God bless us. I like the flip for Roxanne. I just think it's just her time to go up to the main card. I think a loss here would get her to the main card. Lyra Valkyria is an undercover, really good champion, and I think beating Roxanne for the build, it's been a pretty good build, not great but good. But in this scenario, I think Valkyria going over makes the most sense. So I'm going to take Lyra to retain the title.
Wolf Dogs versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Zach and I both have Wolf Dogs.
Not the matchup that we all expected. We all thought that the Good Brothers / the OC was going to be that team. Now, that being said, it might be the upset special of the week.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to do it. It's Wolf Dogs here. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Fuck it. But to me, Nathan Frazier, feels like he's going to flip heel, and this is the way to kind of do that. So
and
I'll take the Wolf Dogs.
How about this match? Tia Hale, Fallon Henley, and Kalani James versus JC Jane, Kiana James, and Jasmine Nix.
God bless
what
you,
a stupid life I lead. What the fuck? I'm taking the baby faces. Who you got?
I'm taking the baby faces. No way. Somebody's arm's going to get broke by Thea Hale, and that's all I can say about that. I don't care who it is.
And then finally we have Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes in what feels like a really big match.
Yes.
Zach and I both have Trick Williams. Who you taking?
It's probably one of the biggest matches that's not on the WWE main card. This is one of those times where when you were watching NXT and I wasn't watching it, I feel like I'm missing some context, but not a lot. I think NXT and HBK has done a lot. I'm going to take Trick here because obviously I think Trick stays. Melo goes up to the main roster, and you may move from that point. But ultimately, I think Trick and Melo meet each other on the main roster the same way that Melo and Bron Breakker meet each other on the main roster. You can have two different aspects, and you can go from that point. But ultimately, I'll go with Trick Williams to beat Carmelo in the main event that has no title implications. That's how good this fucking angle has been. Like I said, I haven't watched it a lot, but once I started to watch, and it's got me involved, invested, whatever the word you want to go with it, and I cannot. It's one of the matches for this weekend, whether it's ROH, AEW, WWE, whatever. It's one of the matches I can't wait to see.
Big time. That's going to do it for our predictions. So we got some birthdays this week. Chelsea Green is 33. Sika Adnoai, 79. I hope he's doing well. I don't know. Maybe R.I.P.
Can I get a shout out to my boy,
sure.
A friend of the show, Mike Fernandez? I'm not sure what the age is, but Dog is going to have his
young man
birthday on Saturday.
He's young at heart.
I'll go with him. Less than me. I'll go with 45. Still alive.
DDP, 68. Charlotte Flair is 38. Peter Maivia. So a couple of people in the Bloodline's birthdays this week. Peter Maivia would have been 87. David Otunga is 44. Sanjay Dutt is 42. Bianca Belair is 35. Paul Bearer would have been 70. R.I.P. And Juice Robinson is 35.
Where's Juice at?
Hey, everybody. We know there's tons of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. For my whole family in there, for Lucha Chris, for Murray the Murray Man, Murray, for Patriot Pat, for Brett Jagger, for Tinder Mahal, for Vice, for Three Beard Zach Pullman, for Jason Cornelius Bell, I am Bill Vagey. Enjoy WrestleMania, everybody. Black Lives Matter. Support your local weed dealers. Support your local restaurants. Give your parents a call, and never, ever forget to boo the heels.